Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Davey Deathray here, back with my guy Foz Rotten. How you doing tonight, Foz?
Wake up, sleepyheads! It's party time. What's up, Davey?
There you go. Nothing much, man. It's been a really busy October, but very fruitful. Speaking of busy, this is a double dose of movie punks. Usually we go once a month, but we ended up missing September and wanted to give you guys a double dose here during the spooky season, since mostly we cover movies that are horror or very close to horror in the case of Repo Man.
October's better anyways. Better to do double October than one September. Yeah. God.
Well, and you know what? We were just talking about this. We got extremely lucky, guys. We've been planning this episode. This has been the Halloween episode pretty much since we started, right? You knew that you wanted to cover this
first episode.
So our first episode was back in May, guys, but we started putting this together April, but we started putting this together back in like March. The whole idea of doing movie punks, and man, we got some great news because there's a 4K release. This is one of those movies that it's like a will they won't they relationship for a really long time. And I know that Mark Price has been out there doing the con circuit, and there's been a lot of talk about what's going on with the film. So we lucked out, man, because news just dropped like midnight or early this morning or something like that.
Well, I've been here for the whole ride, the whole journey. First off, just let me tell everybody, happy Sammy Kerr Day, everybody. It's happy Trick or Treat 4K finally fucking drop day is exactly what it is. So this got announced, if you haven't been following it, Davey, this got announced like 2 years ago. And Slippy, Michael Felcher, who's always on Dead Pit, in other places, who I met him.
Your best friend Slippy.
Well, I really like Slippy. I've met him a couple times, but he's.
I'm just saying, I was Slippy. Like, oh, you had to fill it in for me. All right, here we go.
But he's friends with all the Dead Pit guys. So anytime I'm like, hey, I like you from Dead Pit. He's like, oh God, those guys. So like 2 years ago, he announced that his company, Red Shirt Pictures, was going to release the 4K of Trick or Treat. And then a year goes by, and this time last year, it's supposed to release nothing. And finally, earlier this year, he came on and told everybody this big thing was like, I promise you, internet. He literally said,
there's some news coming.
My reputation that you will have this in your hand by Halloween. And by God, if he's not a man of his word, nobody saw this coming. I know Christian over at Plant CHH was bitching all the time. I was bitching all the time, but I was trying to be like, okay, it's coming. I know Synapse normally doesn't even put up pre-orders. They just drop. So, yes, a couple of days ago, Felcher put up that he was going to do a live Q&A on his Facebook, which he does occasionally. And Dead Pit reposted that. I was like, oh, okay, it's coming. And then yesterday, I saw where Christian posted that there was a countdown on the Synapse site counting down to something. It looked very metal. And I put two and two together, and immediately I was like, oh, this is happening. And last night during the Texas Chainsaw ranking video with Born to Be Rad and Dead Pit doing the Rad Pit collab, Felcher came on and was playing coy, but I don't know if you watched it, but the whole time he would like grab an actual copy of it and be like, now anyways, about this thing we were talking about. And like he would never say it, but everybody knows like, okay, not saying it without literally saying it.
He can't, it's in the contract. You can't say the words, but you can show the merchandise, as it were.
And he showed the merchandise. So everybody flipped. And at 12 o'clock today, the internet crashed. You couldn't get it on the Synapse site for hours. Diabolic DVD and Orbit were the only two places you could order it. Both sold out. Now, as of right now, you could still go on the Synapse site and order it. And if you wanted all three variants, there are three variants. If you want all three variants, it's exactly the same amount of money. It's like $199.99 because they're all $66 individually.
Yeah.
But you can get a pack of all three for $200 if you want. But that's limited to 150 of those. So anyways, there's so many of these made. all the Orbit and Diabolic's gone. You got to get on Synapse. I would go now, tonight, right now. Say Movie Punk sent you over there. You'll get nothing for it, but somebody will go, who's Movie Punks? And that's okay. And I have mine. I went with variant C because I liked it a lot. And yeah, Davey, are you going to get one of them?
You know, I don't know if I will, because honestly, so this was the first time I ever watched the film, Foz, so not something I grew up with. And I'm not saying that I don't enjoy it. I am very selective with what I spend my money on. And it's just out of necessity. I wish I had the scratch that the Christians and the Garretts and the Dead Pitts of the world had, because
I'm not gonna lie.
I would be, if I had the means, I would absolutely pick this up. I think the movie's really, really damn fun. So I would recommend, if you've got the money and you love physical media, this is a movie you want in your collection. Absolutely.
If I had the money, I would have got all 3 variants. I'm not even lying. I would spend the $200 on that thing. I really would have. But yeah, I went ahead and went to Diabolic, and on Diabolic, it took me 20 minutes to even get it to load, because every page you went on, you had to reload twice for it to work once. And so it took 20 minutes of me being on Diabolic before it went through. And I was so nervous something was going to go wrong. But I went ahead and got the variant I really, really wanted, which was C, which I've been happy with any of them, but that was the one I wanted. If I had the money, I would have done it. But it was like 70 some bucks, like close to $77 with shipping and taxes and all. And it was that's a lot of money for one movie. But let's tell them what they're going to get, because this is amazing. I don't know if you know this, Davey. Just to clarify this, I have this behind me here. This is the first time this movie will officially be released in the U.S. since VHS Laserdisc era. Besides this literal DVD that everybody says is probably an actual bootleg, but sold in Walmarts and everywhere.
It is such a lie. It is terrible. It makes you think that the movie stars Gene Simmons and Ozzy. Those aren't even pictures of what they look like, remotely near what they look like. That's like, those pictures were taken 20 years after the movie was made, it seems like. They like, Ozzy's very young looking. Gene looks unrecognizable, like, and puts in a really charming performance.
So I was trying to do the math in my head. I had grown up on the movie. I had a video store near me called Movie Madness. And with the headband, I'm like, Madness! Sorry. and I used to rent it all the time. It had a great VHS cover and everything. So one day I'm at Walmart. I'm serious. This had to be 25 years ago, 26 years ago. It was sometime 2003, 2004. Whenever this dropped, it instantly hit the Walmart $5 bill. And I'm going through there. That was whenever the $5 bill was something. And I came across it. I went, no fucking way. Are you serious? And
was it right next to Ginger Snaps? It looks like almost the same cover.
Oh, dude.
Doesn't it look just like Ginger Snaps? Like, you're just like, you could just pass that movie, right? It's just like,
but here's the thing I started thinking about. I was talking to my wife about this earlier. I started getting nostalgic. 25 years ago, and I've been watching this thing for 25 years. It doesn't look good. It's never looked good, but it looks as good now as it did then. But thank God that it didn't get disc rot or anything. And today, I watched it again today, and it was like saying goodbye to an old friend. I'm like, I've had you for 25 years.
It's the last time. Just think of everything. Think of all the fidelity you're going to get out of that new copy, and like all the things that you're going to, all the posters on the wall that you're really going to get to see in greater detail and all that fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I do want to show off the site and everything to everyone, but we've been talking for about 10 minutes. So I want to say what's up to everyone in the chat. You guys are awesome for hanging out. And then, we don't do this all the time, guys. Like, we usually dive in and just talk about the movie, but it was Kismet. This just worked out the way it worked out. Born to be Rad, is Garrett going live on Rad Pack? And they're going to really break it down tonight.
So we're gonna lie and say that we're the lead-in to the Rad Dudes Halloween special tonight. We're just claiming that. I actually went live on Instagram right before this, and Cody popped in, and I gave him a shout out and talked about it. So that was me claiming to Cody that we're the lead-in to the Rad Dudes Halloween special tonight.
All right.
But I'm sure Garrett will go into all that on there. I'm just so excited because I'm a huge fanboy. This is my movie. I own like literally 6 t-shirts.
6 t-shirts.
6 T-shirts, 2 copies of the vinyl, the original pressing, and one of the modern Hellfire pressings. I own so much stuff. Go on my youtube.com/FozRotten and find
link in the description below.
And last year I did a full my trick or treat collection. It's a lot of stuff. So I did a full detail account of everything. I don't have it with me right now. It's in boxes put away where we're moving. But go watch that video. All right. On Davey. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's just say what's up to everyone in the chat, and then we'll get and we'll show off the movie, the physical release that was just announced, and then we're gonna talk about the movie in detail. What's happening, Gory Tiger? Great to see ya. We got Leanna in the chat. How are you doing? One of our great channel members, Leanna. We got Antonis Andriotis.
What up, Antonis?
I am having fun editing that Bride of Chucky review for you, Antonis. It's been a blast. Coy, what's happening? Happy Sanjo. How you doing? We got Greedo in a Speedo. Always says so big. That's the way I read it. It's like a Homestar Runner kind of thing.
Does he shoot first?
I should hope so. Damn it. You know what? It's not even that Han shot first. It's just Han shot because no one shot second. You know what I mean? Han just shot. That's how it goes, right? So you don't need a shirt that says Han shot first. I do want to bring up for Happy Sanjo, our top tier channel member. He's the president. He's the original channel member here, so got to give him an extra shout out. We got Lamontre Gillard, Gene Whitacombe, Dave Vanderhoff says my second favorite horror movie ever in 1986. I had just graduated high school and I went to this movie theater, or went to the this movie in the theater to watch this probably 5 times in 5 days. Wow. Dude, that's incredible.
So much. And
I've seen a movie twice in 24 hours, but never 5 times in 5 days. Sorry, Foz. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying him. I hope he's got that new Blu-ray 4K coming. Let us know which variant you got. Anybody who ordered today, let us know the variant that you got.
Yeah, I know Eli had ordered it. I saw a comment that he dropped on my short because I tied in my quick movie review with this one here. And speaking of Eli, there he is, one of our Death Squad mods and channel members. Eli, which one did you grab? Let us know. Let me see here. Everyone's just saying what's up. We got Adrian James, another great channel member. I dropped the link so everyone can check out the website. Get it. Gavin, what's happening? Gavin, you've not. I would imagine, Gavin, that you will probably enjoy this one quite a bit.
Just order it, man. Just order it. Just do it.
Yeah. Because I know that you like kind of cheesy stuff a little bit, so I know you'd really dig it. Let's see here. Who else do we have? Jamie Hart, the OG Death Squad mod. There she is.
Please tell me you saw this in theaters, Jamie. Please.
I bet. Revenge isn't my bag, baby. Cody Snyder, another Death Squad mod. Had a great time talking H45 with him just the other day.
Great stream. I watched that.
Thank you. Let's see here. Who else do we got? DA Mac. How you doing, DA? And yes, Jamie saw this in the theater.
Yes. Jamie, yes.
I do. Foz, do you have something? Is there something playing in the background? I'm hearing something coming through.
That could be noises from outside the door, which are out of my control. I'm sorry, Davey.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't. I was like, was my phone playing something? I just want to make sure.
Is it too bad? Cool. Is it too bad?
I mean, I just hear it, so I just wanted to make sure it wasn't something that was, it's not a big deal. Cool. Let's jump on over to checking out the webpage here for Synapse. So yeah, you can do the 3-disc limited edition collector's set. Let's see here, 60-page booklet, collector's card set, double-sided poster. And yeah, let's see here. So yeah, they've got different versions of it here. Yeah. Oh, these are all coming.
This is on the Diabolic page, right?
No, this is Synapse because Diabolic. I had Diabolic brought up, but it's out of stock. So I jumped over to the Synapse.
All right, so I got number 3 variant C, the third one over right there. And the fourth one, like I was saying, is the select all three option. That's like $200, but you get all three of them. It's the same price. I did the math. You could have at least saved the $6.66, guys. That would have been fun.
Yeah. Well, why not make it like, I would say like make it $159.99, and that's still like an amazing deal, right?
Yeah.
Like really make it some savings, you know?
Because everything's the same. It's just the cover of the box is different.
Gotcha. So in each one, you get the 60-page booklet, the collector card set, and the double-sided poster.
Yes. Okay. And now the third disc is the soundtrack. And from what I was seeing, from what it looked like, whenever you click on like the individual stuff all laid out, it actually looks like the CD is made to look like the vinyl that he's given by Nuke, and that, you know, when he plays it backwards, it raises him and everything. I thought that was awesome.
These stills that they're including, like the lighting is so much better than the transfer that I watched today. I don't know why we've got the shot of the.
Watch it, because did you watch it on what's the news thing? Not Shudder, is it Screambox?
That's where I watched it. I watched it on Screambox.
That is the same HD version that is going to come with 4K. Because what happened last year, where it was supposed to be out for Halloween last year, they already had the mastered HD version. They gave it to Screambox to premiere on Halloween, and I did a one of those free trials or whatever for the day and watched that version. So it looked great. And then I rewatched that DVD this year. I didn't want to do that, but now I want to have this forever.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, it just, those pictures that they're showing just look a little bit better. Yeah. Dave ordered A and B. All right.
Wow.
Has the CD soundtrack and the cassette tape. Now, did they make the cassette tape out of metal? Is it literally made out of metal like the one in the movie? That would be really cool.
That would be cool. No, actually, funny story. On the cassette tape, it has extra little odds and ends that are not on the vinyl. But I think on the newest reissue of the vinyl, they actually added that stuff in. It was just like a little monologue, something. It's just like a little tidbit right there for you.
Gotcha. Yeah, they probably had to.
That's the one I got.
This one right here. Yeah, I think this shot right here is great. You kind of see everything that you need to see. They even made the soundtrack disc look like a 7-inch record or whatever, or a 12-inch with chalk written all over it. That's a nice little touch.
Songs in the key of death, Davey.
Dynamite Tiger, welcome to the chat.
Buddy?
Says, "Sup, gang? Love this friggin' movie. Missed it. Synapse crashed on me. Sorry.
Oh, I think it's still up, man.
Yeah, I think it's up right now, so you can go in and order now.
Right now.
We have the best tigers in here, don't we, folks?
Always.
We've got the Dynamite Tiger, and we got Big Rod, one of our great channel members here, says Terry in the Gate is the ultimate homage to Trick or Treat. Either that or it's a case of same idea from the Satanic Panic craze.
I mean, I could do a whole episode on Satanic Panic movies. I love that. But yeah, the Gate's great. Gate 2 is cool, man. If you ain't seen Gate 2, give it a shot. It's good.
Well, and like funnily enough, Kate and I watched the first episode of that Hysteria series on Peacock with like Bruce Campbell, and they take a lot from this movie. And it's funny because we just watched that last night, and then I watched this movie for the first time today, when he's like tearing all the posters off the wall and everything. There's a scene exactly like that in Hysteria. It was all right. Like I guess I'd be willing to watch another episode, and if the second episode doesn't nail me, then maybe I'm out.
Now, did you watch it because of Bruce Campbell or just because it looked cool?
Well, I watched the trailer, and I thought the trailer was like intriguing enough, given that Bruce Campbell is also in it. You know, because like if he's a part of a project, I just figure like his performance is worth something.
Exactly. Bruce Campbell, the star of Burn Notice. I agree. I love that show.
Everyone knows him from Crime Wave and the end of Darkman and Burn Notice. Nothing else. We've never seen this guy in anything else.
I'm being serious. I love Burn Notice. I watch it all the time.
Oh, Burn Notice is a lot of fun. Burn Notice is definitely a lot of fun. A lot of those shows suck really bad, and Burn Notice is actually pretty entertaining. So let's see here. I don't think we're missing anyone else. Foz, I guess we can sort of just get into talking about the movie now, right?
Yeah, buddy.
We may as well. So let's see here. What do we usually talk about? I got to go over to my banner here.
Well, I'm just like a wind-up toy tonight. I'm just ready to go, bro. I'm like a little bit
take
sick.
it.
I've been taking congestion medicine, and I'm just like,
You're all cracked out on Robitussin. No, I'm just Sudafed and Robitussin.
I don't remember what it's called. It's something my wife gave me. I was like, thanks, babe.
Yeah. You can't trust those doctors or even the people that act like your doctor.
Now that I got this guy named Billy, he gave it to me for half the price.
I love that the real good like NyQuil and the good Robitussin, like back in the day, it's just syrupy booze. Like, yeah, you give a kid like a half a shot of like sugary booze and then it's gonna knock him out. Like, of course. Yeah. Why do you call it medicine? Just give him some rum. Like, just it cracks me up. The very first time I ever felt like drunk was when I was a kid and took NyQuil and was like, because I wasn't a bad kid. Like all through high school, I was like, I didn't do any of that stuff. And I swear at like 16, a thing of NyQuil, and I'm like, ugh, somebody's gonna take advantage of me.
Shit, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, robo-tripping was a real thing around here. Walmart caught on to like whenever all these teenagers would come up there with bottles of Robitussin and be like, all right. And I'd run into friends and be like, where are y'all going? This is true. All the time this happened. Where are y'all going? I was going to drive around the park somewhere and drink a bunch of Robitussin. You want a robo-trip? I'll be like, I'm good. I got trick-or-treat.
Yeah. Yikes. Yeah, that seems like really gross.
West Virginia, son.
You made the right choice, Foz. So yeah, do you want to take it over here on setup and story since this is something that you've grown up with? Tell us about the movie. and yeah.
Rock's chosen warrior, Sammy Kerr, sacrificed himself in a hotel fire to the almighty whatever rock and roll demon that comes out and gets you in the car when you're listening to headphones, and comes back whenever his record is played backwards to his number one fan, Ragman, and he gets Ragman to do his bidding of killing all the fuckers in the same small town he grew up in. And then Ragman's like, oh wait, I like this one girl, I can't do this, that's bad. So he pushes out and then Sammy Kerr has to come after his ass. And then that's the movie. And then lots of heavy metal, lots of not gory kills at all, but like fun, electrifying kills, and that stuff. I want to do a body count. One day I want to go through and do the body count, which you don't actually know what it is, because how many people heard, this is skipping ahead, I was thinking about this tonight. If people heard it on the radio, how many people did he actually get to kill? So you don't even know the body count.
Yeah, and I didn't know if he had to actually be able to show up there to kill people like through the guitar, or was the radio thing kind of like the Silver Shamrock mask in Halloween 3?
Okay, so what it is
stop it.
He made the cursed vinyl, gave it to Nuke. We'll backtrack all this, but once and I think he just figured that he knew Nuke would give this to the kid. And then the kid, actually, no, there's part of it where Gene Simmons says, we're going to play the first track backwards in the spirit of Halloween. So whenever Sammy gave that to him, I'm sure that was Sammy's suggestion.
Or is Nuke some sort of like reincarnation of him, or has been? No,
he was a high school guy. He knew him in high school. Oh, okay. And he's a radio DJ there in town. They had kept in touch. I'm not going to say they were friends because Nuke talked shit on him.
Because Sammy Kerr is from the town, right?
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. Sammy Kerr grew up in this town, grew up to become Marilyn Manson and Judas Priest combined in every actual priest's worst nightmare. He set it up with the radio DJ he went to high school with, Nuke, that here's an acetate record, a demo from the record, and this is my last album. And of course, whenever he gave this to Nuke, I'm sure he was like, "Hey man, here's a demo. You should play this on Halloween night. Maybe backwards on the first track. I don't know why. Just here you go. And hey, if that little kid with the bandana comes running around, maybe give it to him. I don't know. He's a good kid. So he goes off and sacrifices himself to Satan or whoever in a hotel fire. And then he comes back through that record. So anytime after that the record would get played, including it when it was recorded onto 2 different cassette tapes, you got to keep a running total. There is the record, the reel-to-reel tape that Nuke made, and there are 2 cassette tapes made. And you got to keep a running total through the movie, or you will forget. And they want you to forget because they want it to be a surprise.
2 cassette tapes?
Yes, there are 2 cassette tapes, because there is the one he makes for himself that he listens to in his car, and then there is another one that is
because he communicates through one, but then also you can use the other one as like a trap, like a trap waiting to be opened. The next person that listens to it is gonna like have him show up. There is a bit of like a kind of a Freddy Krueger feel here with Sammy Kerr. And also a little bit of
don't listen to that.
Little bit of Shocker being like being able to travel through the electric waves. And I guess a little bit of Christine. I think too, right?
So
like
you got to keep
you know, I'm not saying it's a rip off or anything. I'm just saying I can see the, you know, usually I think sometimes some of the greatest movies we have are just amalgamations of things. And I notice all of these themes sort of running within this film as well. Now, not everything plays out the way it plays in those films, but I definitely see some of those elements, you know, for sure. So it's one of the things I loved about watching it. Yeah.
So basically that's the whole thing, is this metalhead who gets picked on by everybody, including the main bully is from Melrose Place. He was Matt. That was his name, Matt on Melrose Place. He is playing a much different character.
Like, I love the idea of an 80s bully was like, let's hire a pretty boy that's 30 years old and have him play a 17-year-old, and it'll seem really intimidating. Like that's what they did. You know, it's so funny to me because this guy is just like the most beautiful boy in the world. Like that's like his whole vibe is like, you know, like a model for golf shirts or something like that.
Now see, he was a little bit older, but do you know who seemed the oldest to me out of all of them was the best friend that plays the tape at the school dance.
Oh, the nerd friend?
He always looked older.
Yeah, he looks tougher than Eddie, even though he's a total nerd.
He was like survival of the fittest, man. I don't know. I ain't getting into it.
Yeah, I don't really like. I do wish. I guess looking back as a first time viewer, you know, I think that they could have like tied those guys together a little bit better within the story. Like you could have given the friendship side of the story a little bit more of that Spielbergian, or even like going back to the movie we covered earlier this month, Lost Boys, like kind of that feel, because it seems like our lead is kind of like a Corey Haim type. And he's a really natural actor. I'm not saying, I don't think what's great about it's Mark Price, right? Price.
He was Skippy on Family Ties is why they got him.
Yeah, and I remember Family Ties for sure. And I mean, great show. And I think Mark, maybe he's not as charming as like a Haim, but he's very natural like Corey Haim.
Charming as Haim, man.
But I think what could have been cool here is like a little bit of that, to have, they feel sort of separated in the film. You know what I mean? Like they interact at school, they never interact like anywhere else. And it would be really cool to have like a hangout scene where they both listen to something together and they have a realization together. And Eddie isn't alone all the time. So it feels like Eddie's kind of isolated.
So this is the way I've taken the friendship, and I had friendships like this, and I'm sure you did too. When you're young, before you're anything, before you're a headbanger, before you're a punk rocker, before you're a jock, before you're anything, there's the one group of main kids that will grow to be the preppy kids, the popular kids, whatever you want to call them. Sure. And then there's like the couple weirdos that go off by themselves. And they were like probably the weird kids growing up together. And whereas the main character, Ragman, found himself in heavy metal and MTV and everything, and he loved it. His buddy was just like, whatever, I like nerdy stuff. This is fine. You could tell that he's probably dragged his friend to a Sammy Kerr concert before, because whenever Sammy Kerr pops up in his living room, he even knows his name. Because he says his name, and then he's like, "I love you, man. I got all your records." And he's sitting in the floor talking to him, talking to his friend earlier in the movie, naming all the albums, naming everything. So he has had to listen to all these albums with his best friend so many times. He got dragged to the thing, and Nuke probably took him to meet him backstage, and it's just a whole thing. Like, these kids love you.
You're building this entire lore. Foz, I think you might be the George Lucas of the Trick or Treat universe.
Dude, I've watched it so many times.
What you just said made me think of something. Is obviously Eddie at some point was more of a nerdy kid, because there's a conversation in the hallway where his friend is like, dude, like, you didn't show up for our study thing and you failed this class, and Eddie's like what? So you get the idea that they both started as nerds. So even if they went to a Sammy Kerr concert, they're both like nerdy, and then Eddie leaned more into like the style side of the metal scene.
Yeah.
And Duder just kept on. I don't know. What's the guy's name? What's his name?
Mark? Are you talking about Ragman?
Who's the nerdy guy?
Oh, the nerdy friend. Eddie?
No, Eddie's Ragman.
Eddie Weinbauer. It's Eddie Weinbauer.
Well, who's the other guy?
Ragman. It's
inconsequential. Right, that's the problem. We should know his name. He should be hanging out with Eddie. He should be hanging out with Eddie more in the movie. Eddie shouldn't be calling him on the phone. But whatever, it's a slight criticism. I don't
remember. I just remember Sammy Kerr in his living room being like, "Hey, blah blah blah." Yeah, that's all I remember. And now I remember Eddie screaming his name whenever he thinks he's dead for a second. But
Roger is his friend. Look, Dave's doing it. Yeah. Dave's figuring it out for us, and Raj straight up, looking up skirts, really obviously.
Oh yeah, he's that. Dude. He's that dude. He's gonna get in some trouble later on in life. I'm telling you.
I wouldn't recommend doing that. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing it. You might get, somebody might sucker punch you. You might look a different way, and somebody caught you, and they're already throwing their fist.
But you know what, though? He's definitely going to therapy after this, and he's going to tell his therapist all about murdering hundreds of people in town and a bunch of teenagers that he went to school with by playing a cassette tape. He's going to go to therapy. Don't you worry.
He's only marginally, responsible for 4 or 5 deaths at the school dance, right?
Well, okay, here's a little thing that I was going to mention during the people that's in there. But hey, we're on characters and performances right now. The teacher / principal, whatever he fucking was, with the glasses and the nose, that is the director. And did you look him up to see who he was and recognize him? He is an actor. He's a known actor. He is most notably, he's in The Untouchables, and he is one of the crickets in the Buddy Holly story with Gary Busey.
That's wild.
And like, he's in a bunch of just 80s movies, 90s movies that you would recognize as an actor. And then he made this, and later on he did like Air Bud and a bunch of like weird stuff.
For real. Thank God he did Air Bud,
I mean, what would the world be without Air Bud? I'm just asking.
Some people have said that the spiritual sequel to Trick or Treat from 1986 is Air Bud.
What if Sammy Kerr came back as a dog that could play basketball? I'm just saying.
Maybe it is the spirit of Sammy Kerr coming back in Air Bud.
I'd rock out to Air Bud at a performance at a high school. I'm just saying.
And then also Sammy Kerr is responsible for Slam Dunk Ernest as well. It's those two movies tie directly to one another.
Know what I mean?
You know what I mean, Burn? Yeah, and so this movie, the mood and atmosphere, I didn't know that it, like, I always, you see the pumpkin, you see Trick or Treat, but you really do get some Halloween action here. Like, it takes place right there in Halloween. you know, the day before and like the day of, pretty much, or the week leading up to, but the culmination is on Halloween. And yeah, this movie's got that kind of fun rock and roll, like MTV sort of vibe with the direction as well.
So the rumor always had it that they were going to go, that when they went to Gene Simmons, he's always said this in interviews, they asked him to play the role of Sammy Kerr. But he said once he read the script, he was like, why do I want to play myself? I want to do the nuke part. Now, I never knew if that was true or not. You know, Gene Simmons, you can't believe anything he says. And this is like this and a couple of random Kiss songs that I still like, and a couple other movies from back in the 80s is really about it for Gene Simmons. Other than that, I'm detached. Can't stand him. Can't watch him.
What about the pinball machine? Are you a fan of the Kiss pinball?
No, give me a Trick or Treat pinball machine with Nuke saying "Wake up, sleepyheads," and then like doing the thing, and then I'll be a fan of it. But no.
So you like him as a film performer, not necessarily a stage performer.
It's like all of us Star Trek fans have learned. We love James T. Kirk, the character. William Shatner, the person, you probably don't want to meet him. You probably don't want to get anything signed. You definitely don't want to pay the money to get a picture with him. You just want to like the character from afar.
But the work his other work is good. I mean, like, you know, Boston Legal, he's pretty funny in that one. You know, I think he's pretty funny, pretty charming, you know.
Now TJ Hooker, good show. I'm just saying, like, he's a good actor.
Here's the shame. The best performance he ever did, Michael Myers mask. Like, best performance Shatner ever gave. Even better than his Rocket Man is the Michael Myers mask. And that wasn't even from Star Trek, but they still used it as Captain Kirk. That's the most bizarre thing. So it's funny, as a Halloween fan, I mean, I know you're a Halloween fan. I can see the box set over your left shoulder. You know, isn't it funny when people are like, hey, did you know that the mask is William Shatner? Like, have you ever had people that say that to you? Like,
next time, just argue with them that's Leonard Nimoy. No, dude,
some people,
Spock.
Like, I've had people bring it. They're like, oh, you like that series? And I'm like, oh, I'm a total nerd. And then they throw that at me. And I'm like, what? It's one of those things. It's like, yeah, I know that. Like, but do you know that it's not even from Star Trek? It's from one of his movies. I can't even, Esperanto movies, you know? So like, that's the real factoid there. But it's funny the way that works, like, within fandom. And then you realize that people are total posers. Like, here's another quick aside. I know I'm boring everyone out there, but when people are like, oh, you like Mystery Science Theater 3000? Yes. And they're like, have you watched Manos, The Hands of Fate? And I'm like, get the fuck out of my face, dude. Like, Manos is bad, but if you have watched all the episodes of Mystery Science Theater, you know there's like 3 or 4 or 5 worse movies than Manos, The Hands of Fate. So it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, you're a basic bitch Mystery Science Theater fan. Like,
where do you land on Hobgoblins?
That's the most, I think Hobgoblins is fun. To me, if I'm talking like we're way off mark, but if we're talking top 5 Mystery Science Theater 3000 movies, The Beast of Yucca Flats is probably the worst movie I've ever seen in my life, and one of the best episodes. All the Coleman Francis movies. So The Beast of Yucca Flats, Skydivers, and Red Zone Cuba, I would say, are way worse than like any Ed Wood movie or anything else. But Hobgoblins is fun. But I just, you know, it's funny, like, when people have those basic bitch answers, and it's so niche to be like basic bitch about horror or basic bitch about you know, it's Michael Myers mask.
Let's just be honest, it's the hot topic Nightmare Before Christmas thing. It's like, yeah, I like Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't want to make it my entire personality.
Yeah. How many people that love Nightmare on Christmas think that Tim Burton directed it?
And that's
I would say like 95%, and Tim Burton did not direct it. It says Tim Burton presents because he's a producer on it. But most people probably think that he directed that movie.
They do. That is that is a thing. And they're like, oh,
it's a weird thing.
movies. And they'll even try to say that that's their favorite movie of his. And I'm like, okay. I don't even argue these days. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. Have you seen like Ed Wood or Sweeney Todd or Sleepy Hollow? Yes, getting back to heavy metal and Trick or Treat.
Ed Wood for 10 minutes.
Ed Wood's amazing. So I mean, this one's easy to talk about, the music and the sound design, because the music here is the reason for the season. Like, the music drives this movie, and one of those great examples of when a band gets to take over a soundtrack and make it their record. Like, you saw it with Simon and Garfunkel and The Graduate, and then Harold and Maude with Cat Stevens, and then here we go, boom, Fast Way with Trick or Treat.
So here's a couple questions. I'm just wondering if you know, because I know you're new to all this. Do you know where the band Fast Way come from? Do you know who formed Fast Way?
No, but it's the most like 90s sounding band name. It's so interesting.
It's funny. It's Fast Way Eddie Clark from Motorhead. This was his band after Motorhead. And here's the thing that might blow your mind. And I'm very excited to tell you this if you don't know. Trust me, I'm that guy that's very excited to tell this to everybody. Do you know who the singer was of Fast Way? Who did all the vocals on all these songs that Sammy Kerr supposedly sang in the movie?
I know, because I looked up the name on Wikipedia, but I didn't click on the name to find out more. So
the
tell
actual
me,
name of the person is Dave King. Do you know what band Dave King later became famous for? That is still touring today.
That's the name that I saw it pop up. I was like, Dave King. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You tell me.
Do you like Flogging Molly, boyo? It's the singer fucking Flogging Molly, bro.
Dave King is the singer of Flogging Molly?
Go back and look at Fast Way. He had the big red hair teased up to heaven. And
is he an original member?
Yes. Well, I don't know if he was the original singer, but he was in Fast Way for a long span, and he's the singer on that album. I've seen Flogging Molly literally 6 times.
Is he the original singer of Flogging Molly?
He's the founder of Flogging Molly, and still
that's what I figure. Yeah,
and you know Flogging Molly. Everybody that's been to a Warped Tour knows Flogging Molly. Oh
my god, yeah. If you have freckles, you know Flogging Molly. Yeah,
they are. For those that don't know, they're an Irish punk band. They have they are huge in their own world. They have literal they have literal festivals. They have the cruises. They have the Flogging Molly cruise every year.
Yeah.
I don't have it with me. It's in storage. My buddy, I wasn't even at the show. My buddy went to a Flogging Molly show, and he had won backstage passes and had a tour poster and got every single member, and there's a lot of members, of Flogging Molly to sign it. And for my birthday, he got it framed and gave it to me. So I always want to hang that up next to like a trick or treat thing to be like, I have the voice of Sammy Kerr's autograph right here.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's totally crazy. So the founder of Flogging Molly is the guy singing all of these songs in the Fast Ways.
Yeah,
Fast Way.
Just Fast Way. Yeah.
That is absolutely incredible and completely mind-blowing. And I'm kind of Foz, I'm sort of upset that you didn't tell me about this before, but whatever. I appreciate you outing me in front of everyone in the chat that I didn't know about this. I tell people I love punk rock, and here you are.
Davey.
You know what?
Blow your mind.
I know it's election season, but I didn't expect a gotcha moment from you, Foz.
Gotcha. America, is this the Davey Deathray that you voted for? The one who didn't know Dave King?
And then you just do like a freeze frame, like, and then it goes black and white, and it's me making this face. He didn't know.
How much does Davey actually love Irish punk?
Yeah. Sure, he says his last name is Conway, but is that true? Davey says he loves punk rock and music is his favorite. He's lying. Anyways, I wanted to say what's up to Bill. Bill from the Etherskade. Thank you so much for jumping into the chat, bud. A big favorite or a big fan of this film, so wanted to say what's up. Thank you, Jamie, for taking care of the bugaboos out there in the chat. You are amazing. We got Bronson Wright Wolf, Highway to Halloween.
Hell yeah.
Pete Way and Fast Eddie Clark.
Yep.
So you must know about that, yes?
Yep.
Yeah.
One more thing about Dave King, and I'll leave it alone. The first time I ever...
Why don't you just rub it in, you know?
The first time I ever got to see Flog and Molly was at a Warped Tour. And I was up front, and in between, I was annoying like 18-year-old, 17-year-old, whatever I was, 16.
Yeah.
And I would just yell between every song and go, trick or treat, play some Fast Way. And Dave King finally, like on the third time I did it, just looked at me and went, it gave you like a little head nod. I'm like, yeah.
Nice. They should. You know what? That would be amazing if Floggy Molly went out on and did Halloween, like a Halloween set, and did these songs.
Oh my God. But like their style.
Why not? Why not? Right?
Accordions and fiddles and everything.
Well, whatever. Or you just bring in like you arrange it. So if you can find a way to make it work, but if you just really want it to be metal, then you just bring in like the 4 pieces, right?
Right.
I mean, shit, you could do like a live thing in a theater, like with the movie where they just play the songs.
They are doing some screenings right now. Did you see that? They are screening this new print around. I think they already did it, but they were doing one in Wilmington in the high school auditorium where the high school scene was performed in.
Yeah. That's you said Wilmington?
Yeah, it's from Wilmington,
Delaware.
No, it's North Carolina.
North Carolina.
It's where Dawson's Creek and One Tree Hill and all those shows are filmed.
And that's just south of where you are, right? Not too far south.
Yeah,
you got to go through Virginia to get there.
Far for me because I lived in South Carolina in 2007 in Myrtle Beach. Wilmington is just a couple hours, 3 hours away from there. And I went and spent the day in Wilmington touring and hanging out with a buddy of mine that was staying down there. And I remember this clear as day. It was the day that the Monster Squad DVD dropped. And I had to rush back to Myrtle Beach to be up early for work the next morning. But on the way home, I stopped at the 24-hour Walmart and got the Monster Squad that came out at midnight. And I was like, this is the best
What year was
ever.
that?
2007.
All right. Damn.
Yeah, I remember that day. It's a good day.
That was the 20th anniversary of the film, right?
Yeah,
87, I think, is when it came out. One of my favorites of all time.
Extras and stuff, and now he's brought out Trick or Treat.
There it is. Yeah, man, that is blowing my mind about Dave King. So definitely gonna have to look into that a little bit more and check out more of the Fastway stuff, and probably just listen to the soundtrack outside of the scope of the movie. Yeah, the songs were really good. It's
everywhere. It's on Apple Music, Spotify. Yeah. I was actually listening to it today while driving. I listen to it all the time. It's in like my regular rotation.
You're such a nerd.
It's a good album.
I mean, that's what we are here. It's you have to bask in your nerdiness, right?
I was going to mention this because this is one of the first questions I asked Felcher on a live stream, and I remember him confirming it. They did put the music video that Fastway did for one of the songs on the soundtrack. They did the music video and they put it on the 4K. Here's the thing. You can find it online, but it's not on YouTube. Very rarely will you find it there. It has to be on like some other site because YouTube will tear it down every time. I even myself one time had found it and tried to put it on YouTube and it got taken down. But the cool thing about the video is it's the band Fastway playing, but not Dave King singing. It is Sammy Kerr in his full Sammy Kerr-ness singing for the band and doing his dance moves while they show clips of Trick or Treat.
So the guy could actually sing. The actor could sing too.
No. He was. I don't know if you.
Oh, you just mean that he's standing in, but he's lip singing.
Yeah. So the actor that played him was the Solid Gold dancer. The TV show Solid Gold. He was a professional dancer, and he had. Yeah.
That just makes me think of Scrooge. It just makes me think of Scrooge.
I think he was
Solid Gold dancer. Her nipples are showing. I want to see her nipples. Charles Dickens would have wanted to see her nipples. And you can hardly see them nipples.
But yeah, like that's what he was. He was a dancer. He wasn't an actor, and he'd been in music
Makes
videos
sense.
for like Michael Jackson. He was on Solid Gold, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
he passed away a few years after this movie of HIV related
Oh,
stuff, and
damn.
it's just
Damn.
it's just real sad. It's very rare you ever see an autograph. I've seen one autograph in my time that somebody just lucked out on getting. It's probably Sean Clark. I don't remember who it was, but I remember watching the video where they had a very rare autograph from that guy.
Yeah, that's really sad because like he's, you know, not that he has a crazy amount to work with, not as much as like Robert had with, you know, someone like Freddie, but he does get those moments, and he's got like a pretty good look. I mean, I wanted to move things over into like the visual effects and kills, and this is perfect because we're talking about, you know, the Sammy Kerr you know, performance and character, and yeah, he sort of operates, to me, he kind of reminds me of something like Freddy because he exists in this like supernatural world or supernatural part of our world, and he's got like a sense of humor and that kind of snarkiness about him and everything like that. And yeah, he's got a physical presence too. So he's able to like taunt the people that he interacts with, which is also sort of reminiscent of, you know, like a Freddy Krueger as opposed to Jason or Michael. Yeah, and this movie does it a lot better than Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Yeah, but the guitar is better in Slumber Party Massacre 2, is all I'm saying.
I don't know. I don't know. That movie's weird.
I love part 2, man. It has Helen from Wings.
It does have Helen from Wings, but I think the first movie's way better. The second movie doesn't know what the heck it wants to be. This movie knows what it wants to be, but knows that it kind of wants to do that Christine Freddy Krueger kind of mix. It's really cool. Yeah, tell me your thoughts on the, you know, on the visual effects and just like the, I guess, the killer character as well and everything.
I will say this, while a bit dated, the electricity stuff I think holds up. I think it looks cool. You know, it's very 80s. It would look a lot worse today if they tried to make this today. They couldn't go gory, so it was all a bunch of ashes and fire and lightning. Like, was there a gory kill in this? I don't, like, the woman getting ripped out of the TV screen just became ashes. And then you had the funny part where Raj was trying to vacuum her up. The most disturbing scene we didn't even talk about was the demon grape scene in the back of the car.
Sure,
with a huge, visual effect of the demon monster with the girl in the car. But I thought that my favorite stuff was like the glowing headphones, glowing green, or like the anytime the speakers would, speaking of Freddy Krueger, like you saw his face kind of coming through the speaker, just like Freddy Krueger. That type of stuff I thought was done really cool, really well. But there's not a whole lot of blood and gore or anything.
Yeah, the visual effects are more of like the lightning overlays. There's a lot to do with like electricity, like he travels through the speaker wire and the electrical wires. That's like a big thing. And he like talks to Eddie through the car speakers, like when he starts controlling the car, which is a very Freddy kind of feel, you know, controlling the car. But yeah, I mean, it is relatively tame for sure as far as like gore goes and everything like that. Let's see here.
He did a fantastic job, I think, especially not being a big actor. But he was just so, he used his body so much and just the way he moved, like you could tell that he was a trained professional.
You're talking. So this is Dave Fields, says, Tony Fields. Yeah, the performance is amazing, and this could have been like a franchise kind of thing. You know, I do think that the performance is definitely like of that ilk for sure. And yeah, I mean, if Slumber Party Massacre got a franchise, then this one should as well. And maybe they would remake something like this. I don't know, like if they. You know, it could be interesting, right?
I got so many ideas of how they could do it. My main thought that I've always had is they say earlier in the movie, Nuke says this is like the demo from the recording space, right? But here's the thing. There has to be master tapes that they then put onto that vinyl. So for the sequel, they could have literally just found the master tapes. And you could still do that to this day. We have unearthed the master tapes, the last Sammy Kerr thing ever. You could do like the Halloween 2018 of these people trying to do a podcast or whatever about Michael Myers, where these people are investigating, you know, the urban legend, the myth around Sammy Kerr. You could even do that to this day, where they're interviewing Ragman, they're interviewing Nuke, they're interviewing whoever about like what really happened that night. All that stuff.
We're investigative journalists.
We're going to get killed in the bathroom.
What podcast is in a dirty ass bathroom? Yeah.
Like, but you can do anything like that, man.
Yeah, I mean, you could even say that the radio waves like skipped to the next town and they had a recording of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. And also like in the world that we live in now, like you could set it so this movie came out in 1986. You could set a movie in 88 or 87. Like you could do it wouldn't be that bad. You close down one street and dress it up and you can make it look like the 80s. You put a bush sign in the yard and that's it.
On that radio station, Nuke was obviously not there. My question was always, so did Nuke survive or did he get killed at a party whenever that came on over the radio or something like that? Because he never rushed to the radio station to turn it off or nothing like that.
Yeah. Well, that's my whole thing is
the guard.
Yeah, like that's why I was thinking, is Nuke, is he sort of like possessed by Sammy's spirit when he gives?
He was just a dude. And
because we never see that he's like dead or anything, right? Did I miss something?
It was just a lot of money to get Gene Simmons back. So I always just assumed he was at a party because he looked like the type of guy who'd be out doing party stuff on Halloween. That's why he pre-recorded the intro to that. And you know, oh, nice Alf. Thank you. I love my Alfs. I got multiple Alfs, so that's the one I got now. But he had his voiceover with it, and you know that Nuke had to be advertising that show all week long, like Halloween midnight. We will play the last hour, and somebody somewhere was recording that shit. I mean, it's the 80s. You recorded everything.
Well, if you didn't get to see it again.
Exactly.
And if you were watching the show and being diligent, you could even push pause and cut the commercials out. It's real-time editing. No one talks about real-time editing. That's what that was like. That would be a fun video to do on YouTube. Is real-time editing. But yeah, you know, the effects here are like, they are relatively limited, but they definitely do the you know, when the car goes into the water at the end, there's the animated lightning bolts and everything like that. They definitely do that throughout the movie when Sammy is doing his kills. That's what kind of gave me the Shocker vibes. And then his attitude and his poses remind me of like a Freddy kind of vibe. And you know,
my
talking about
one-liner that literally tanks is whenever Ragman says to him, "Hey, what happened to you back there on the toilet? You look a little flushed." And I'm like, "Oh, Ragman."
Yeah, like now our hero is having the quips. Yeah, you know, that's one of those things about this movie that if you did remake it, you make it, you know, just a little more natural, maybe connect Roger and Eddie a little bit more. Like it would be cool if they were, even if Roger's going to be a nerd, he still is into metal and they listen to it together and they have these weird experiences. So Roger's sort of privy to the information. So once the shit hits the fan and you're really bringing him like fully in, that he kind of knows the scope of what you're dealing with, because in this movie they feel so separated. But yeah, I mean, I think this idea has got like a lot of great potential. Like I think you could bring something like this back, even if you wanted to make a totally original idea, but it's like an homage to what they're creating here. Sure.
As long as you get Flogging Molly to do the soundtrack.
Well, that would be ideal for sure. And I wanted to show off to everyone really quick. I should have done it when we were talking about music. I know I don't have like a metal outfit on, Foz has his headband and his kick-ass shirt. But I wanted to show off some Megadeth records that I really love. Fucking Peace sells, but who's buying? This record's a ripper.
No, we've both seen Megadeth recently, haven't we?
Oh my God, Megadeth is incredible live. Yeah. Dave might be in his 60s, but they like. How were they when you saw him, Foz?
Amazing. I saw him last month or so. It was the best.
Rust in Peace, quite possibly the greatest metal record of all time, an absolute shredder of an album. And I think, so I've got 13 here. It's pretty ripping. I wish I could have Countdown to Extinction, but it's still so rare. But dude, their latest record, The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, it is a fucking shredder of an album. Really. Like it's incredible when I think about, I'm like, these guys, like Dave Mustaine is like maybe 15 years younger than my parents. Like he's not even that much outside of their age at this point. And the fact that he, comes back from cancer and does shit like that, like very impressive.
No, dude, it was great.
Yeah, and even when he had a motorcycle accident in the late 90s, and a doctor was like, "You're never gonna play guitar again," and then here we are. We still have Megadeth records.
He didn't miss a step either, dude. Like honestly, he was killing every solo. He was killing everything.
He's an innovator. They talk about that spider technique, and he's like he is creating and has created techniques for playing guitar. It's absolutely wild. Cody, what are you doing? Haven't seen Megadeth live yet.
I hadn't either. I was a lifelong fan, and I finally got to see them. It was great.
Yeah, I've seen them a few times, and I tell you what, man, they are incredible. Yeah. Yeah, my wife, you guys know that Kate is like a country fan and all that stuff, but when we were at the Megadeth concert, it awoke something in her that was just a little different.
You know what's funny? You mentioned that here in West Virginia, everybody's country fans. But I've noticed there's a very cliche thing that happens when you were to people who were like in the metal in the 80s and the early 90s, especially hair metal and stuff like that. They are now all country fans. Like my uncle liked AC/DC back in the day. He liked everybody like that back in the day. But now he plays banjo and listens to exclusively bluegrass. And I'm like, what is the evolution in West Virginia where people go from metal fans to country fans? I just don't get it.
Yeah, well, it's funny because it's like, why do you have to give up one to enjoy the other?
Right.
But I've met people like that. Like I seriously last year, like I was up in Sedona for a 5K and having a chat with a guy, and he was like, I hated country, and then I got this new job, and they always had country on the radio, and 3 months later, like country was all I wanted to listen to, and I stopped listening to rock and roll. And I'm like, dude, you are like outright admitting to me that you like fully got brainwashed and you're totally okay with it. Like that's a wild thing to say to somebody where you're like, I don't even listen to the shit that I used to love because I just let my new shit brainwash me. It's like, dude, that's fucking just as troublesome as being an addict, maybe even worse, because you have bad taste and no morals. Like,
well, that's
even worse.
To begin with. Maybe he just went with it because it's what his friends liked.
Dude, but to admit it is wild. You know what I mean? To be like, I straight up got brainwashed. Like, that's what's up.
That brain needed washing,
I don't know.
Son.
Yeah, I thought I'd only hear that from Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses. And then here we go. The subs fall off.
We have a large Mormon community that watches us, Davey. Don't you know this?
All the Mormons watch us. Yeah. Tyler, you should absolutely watch Megadeth live. They're totally incredible. I know we're getting all distracted here. Climax. Sorry, pause.
What? Climax?
It's time to climax. So get with it or get out.
That's what I hear about.
No, we're talking about the film's climax.
Of course. Okay. The kind of, I'm going to be honest, I love the movie, but kind of lackluster climax of talking shit to your former hero, now heavy metal demon. And he just gets comes out of the like, nobody calls me a wuss, and he pops up into the back of a cop car, and
he's like Marty McFly. How
yeah,
dare you question my manhood?
But nobody calls me chicken. And then he like gets drove into the river, and it's over.
Yeah,
that's it.
And could have teleported to the shotgun seat and just grabbed the guy.
Literally could have.
He puts himself purposely in the back, like he has to be in the back. Like, what is this?
Yeah, it's. I guess
what is this? Is convenient.
The radio is in the back, and he's supposed to come through the radio. And that's why the radio in the back, and that's why he's supposed to be there. But in the gym, he came out of an amp.
He shoots through speakers and formulates in the middle of the hallway. So it's almost like it's teleportation.
In Ragman's house, when they're in the bathroom looking for the car keys, and you could see that he's burned the speaker of that little radio coming out. So he might have came through that. But when they turn around, it's like, this is a house. The house is not that tall that he's going to be up in the ceiling and drop down. Like, how high are those ceilings that he's dropping down in this house to surprise them?
Well, it looks cooler, but yeah, you're right about the, I just felt like the electrical connection and all that, he could materialize within like 10 to 15 feet of the nearest like speaker or electrical socket. So if you're talking about the car, no matter where the radio is in the car, he could be in the friggin' that would be more exciting if he materialized in the shotgun seat and they have to like fight as one guy tries to like break the vehicle and one guy tries to spill it over or whatever. I don't know.
Curious. I just thought of something.
They go off a ramp.
What if your electrical device was hooked onto a clapper, and so he was coming after her, and then all you did was, and it went off.
Dude, that'd be hilarious. And it's slow motion of them like, whoa, no, and then they're the last one. It's like the blackjack of like crash downs. You want to be the last one to lay down your hand and be the winner. Yeah.
And then whenever they're like, "Oh man, I can't believe we won." All right. And they're like, "No." And then he comes back and gets you, and that's the last scare of the movie. Yeah.
And I would say like the ending is sort of, I thought it was going to be teased a little bit more for sure.
But he gets, I'm sure the FCC hates this movie because they're like, first of all, you can't do that on the radio. Second of all, you're not approved. You can't just get on the radio and go, "Wake up, sleepyheads, it's party time." That's not you. Yeah. And Nuke is going to sue your ass for using his line. I'm just saying, it is Gene Simmons. So, and well, I love the movie. It is a little lackluster. But did you see? I
love that you admit that. I think that's the sweetest thing. I think that's the best thing that's been said this whole stream, because I think it's important. I think it's important that sometimes we recognize that like we are so like nerdy and amped up over the things that we love, but we can also recognize that like, yeah, it's not the greatest. I just really love it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's something that should be like celebrated, and everyone, like, we live in a day and age where a lot of people are like, you either love something or hate something. You're either for it or against it. And it's like, no, a lot of the things I really love, like maybe I'm just like 80 to like 90% of loving them, or 60 to 90%.
Like, how many albums do you love, but there's that one song where you're like, it's all right.
Sure. A lot of albums have one song or two songs, but it's like, it's like, I love a movie like, pick like half of the Halloween movies, or pick like most of the Halloween movies. Do I love them? Like, I don't know if I do, but I really enjoy watching them, and I get something out of it. We've
been talking about Freddy all night. The Nightmare on Elm Street movies are so up and down, up and down. I love Freddy's Dead. Is it a good movie? No.
It's terrible. Yeah.
But for me, it's a fucking great movie.
Fun movie. Watch it
any day of the week, and I love it.
Yeah, the Goo Goo Dolls song at the beginning is maybe the best part of the movie.
I'm awake now.
I
love it so much.
The makeup is really rough. But I do think if you're comparing this movie, if you compare Trick or Treat to one of those run-of-the-mill later end Freddy's, like, I think it's better than quite a few.
Oh yeah, I'd say it's directly between 4 and 5 because I don't really like Nightmare 5, but it has charm where it's one of the last of the regular Freddy movies. But I love 4, and I don't know. Me personally, I put it before Freddy 4, Nightmare 4.
I love Nightmare 4 is great.
I love it, but I think on the spectrum it'd be like right in between there because 4 is just so good. 4 really is that good.
Yeah. And I think that this is one of those, like, it's you know, when people talk about like do we want to bring something back, or if you want to reboot something, like don't do the obvious, do something different. And you know, I'm not saying like we don't have to really have that conversation. I've been kind of pushing it the whole night, but I do think it's one of those things where it's like this wouldn't be the worst thing. Like if you're gonna bring something back, like this could work. An idea like this could work.
It could definitely work.
That Hysteria show on Peacock is almost like, it seemed like I've only watched one episode of it, but it seems like it's sort of going a route that's kind of in tune with this. Stranger Things meets Trick or Treat is what it seems like Hysteria is.
That's what I'm talking about.
And it's pretty rocking. So yeah, it's all right. I mean, check out the first episode, see what you think. That's all I've seen. But yeah, I mean, Trick or Treat is a really damn fun time. I'm pumped that they actually put out the 4K for everyone that's you know, physical media collector and everything, you know.
So let me ask you this. We're talking climax here. Did you see what the actual last thing on this was? Because there is a post-credit. Yes, before Marvel, there were already post-credits, and this had one. Did you see what it was?
I did not see the post-credit.
It was an outtake of Ozzy Osbourne, who we have not talked about all night, being in this, in his stuff, where he's just like, these evil people have got to be stopped. And then it goes to black. I think that's what he says. You know, it's Ozzy, so. But yeah, that's what it was. They just showed that again. So I liked Ozzy being in this. It was funny, but you know, take it or leave it. I think Gene Simmons was actually good as Nuke. I wish he had more scenes. Like you were talking about more in depth for Roger. We should have definitely gotten more in depth for Nuke and the backstory with him and Sammy Kerr in high school together.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that Gene just seems like more of a character where like Ozzy's sort of obvious. He's not like doing an accent or anything like that. He just sounds like Ozzy, but it is really cool that he's in there. And they have that interaction where you know, Sammy can like reach into the TV and like affect the people on the other side. It's pretty interesting for sure. Yeah,
I just wondered if in real life it was just like in a Freddy dream. Like if you die in the dream, you die in real life. Like let's say Kincaid in part 4. In the dream he dies one way, but in real life, like he wakes up and has like a heart attack or whatever, right? So maybe like the woman on TV that he drags out there when she's like, oh, she actually has like a heart attack or a stroke or something and dies right there on the TV studio. Maybe that's what happened in real life. I don't know. I'm just making all this stuff up.
And maybe it's like Late Night with the Devil or something like that. Where it's just
summon Sammy Kerr.
Yeah, exactly. Coming right through the TV. Yeah.
Late Night with the Sammy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this movie is was really, I'm happy I finally watched it. You know, I think it's one of those movies that's like a really good, you know, fall time flick to check out. For sure. You know, put in the rotation every year.
Now, Sean Clark did one of his horror hallowed grounds for this on the locations in Wilmington, and I know that they put that on the 4K, but you can still watch that on his YouTube like you can all the other ones. Yeah, I highly suggest it. It's a good episode.
Hell yeah, will do. Absolutely. Let's see here, everybody. We do have a poll going on right now. 26 votes The poll is, do you wish you could summon a rock icon to help you get revenge on the people who wronged you? 62%. 62% of 26 people say, do I wish? Brother, I've tried. And 38% of folks say revenge isn't my bag, baby.
What rock star would you bring back from the dead to help you, Davey? I gotta hear this.
I would bring back Jim Morrison so he could read people terrible poetry as a punishment.
All right, I got this one.
Drunken poet kind of stuff.
But
just
he's
to
like
annoy people.
But this is going to be terrible. But he's all bloated and wet from the bathtub.
Whatever.
With his big beard and everything.
He's just an absolute mess, and he's just not very fun to hang out with. You know,
like, Jim Morrison, I thought you'd be a lot cooler. Can you please go away?
Yeah, and he would just make them so depressed they would just kill themselves. I don't know.
Yes, Jim, I know you're the Lizard King. Yes, you can do anything.
Yeah, dude, you're totally wow. You're really impressive. Yeah.
Please zip up your leather pants, please.
Yeah, poetry is really cool, man. You're doing great.
Doing great. Let's see, who would I get to come back? ODB. I would want ODB to help me out getting revenge.
Wow.
That's who.
He's not rock and roll. Is he rock and roll?
Old Dirty Bastards is rock and roll as you can get, man.
I mean, he's pretty hip hop, right?
I mean, hey, Davey, he wants his money, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense. Yeah, anyone within the musical world, why not?
I mean, I dare you to ask if ODB was a rock star or not. They'd say 100% he was a rock star. Okay.
Would be fun. It would be fun.
Okay, if I had to pick an actual in your term rock star, let's see who would be a good Gigi Allen. We'll just have Gigi come back and do terrible things to people.
Yeah.
Just like he did in real life.
There you go. Oh gosh, I don't know who I would bring to really bring people punishment. That's dark. That's some dark stuff for me. I don't know. Who would it be? Kurt Cobain.
All right. He'd be snarky and make fun of him.
He would just sing like really, really depressing songs.
Yeah. All your people are just depressing, Davey.
They are, yes.
You need to get like the Michael
a fun dead rock star. Okay, Jim Croce comes back and makes you feel better about everything.
There you go. What about Ricky Nelson? There you go. He was always upbeat.
Yeah. I mean, whoever, right? Whoever's upbeat. Sure. I'm trying to think of dead rock stars that are upbeat. I'm just like, yeah.
Who's an upbeat dead rock star?
I guess Jim Croce and Buddy Holly are the two.
Yeah, I was going to say Buddy Holly.
Right?
He attacks you with mystical crickets.
I'll bring back Otis Redding, and you'll just have to cry because his voice is so beautiful. I don't know.
I just sit there and be like, okay, Otis, whatever you think, buddy.
What's wild is when you look at a picture of Otis Redding when he died, he was like 26 years old, but back then 26-year-olds looked like 45-year-olds. So he looks like he lived a whole life, and he was just like a kid,
Dude, you know what would be terrifying? I was just thinking, I'm pretty sure he's dead. I saw a video of him the other day. I'm pretty sure he's dead now, but correct me if I'm wrong. How terrifying would it be if a undead Little Richard came after you?
Oh wow, yeah.
That'd be
big old soul glow hair just like flopping around. Some zombie soul glow.
Honey, I'm gonna get your soul.
So he's in we had talked about Mystery Science Theater 3000 earlier. He appears in an episode from season 3, I think, maybe season 2.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Catalina Caper, where they go. It's a boat trip out to Catalina, and there's some like art thieves, and it's sort of like a beach rock and roll movie. And nice. Little Richard performs on the boat. Yeah, it's must be like mid 60s probably when the movie came out, like 66, so Little Richard's 67.
In the movie they're watching.
He is in the movie. Yeah, Tommy Kirk from Old Yeller is like a teenager in the movie.
okay.
He's one of like the hot young teens or whatever. So it's like mid to late 60s or whatever. And yeah, Little Richard is in there. I think there's another, it's sort of like a quasi musical, like, you know, like it's like an Elvis movie, but they didn't have Elvis to be the lead actor. It's bad. Catalina Kafer, bad, but a great episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Wow, I need to watch that one. I don't think I've ever seen it. I've seen a lot. Like, I have a lot of gaps in my MST3K, but like I've also watched a lot that if you just ask me the movie title, I don't know it. Peter Steele. You don't want to know what Peter Steele comes after you with. I'm just saying. I've seen that Playgirl.
Oh my God. Jamie would bring back Brad from Sublime.
There we go. That'd be pretty upbeat guy to have around. Zombie Blue Dog with him.
Yeah, as upbeat as it gets for being a heroin junkie, but he wrote lovely songs.
Yeah. Now I will say this. I feel bad about saying that about Peter Steele, but I saw Typo Negative play live once, and they were really good. Like, I always liked Typo Negative, but I never thought they'd be that great live. Turns out really good live. I don't know if you ever got to see them.
I never did. No, I would imagine it's very like very much like Wall of Sound kind of feel.
Yeah, it's a wall of goth, basically.
But it, like with all those electronic instruments, like it is literally a wall of sound. Like you're not, you know.
The thing I remember, I can't remember if he played guitar or bass. Don't kill me, people. I think he played bass, didn't he? But I remember instead of a regular guitar strap, he had like an actual metal chain that went around him for like his guitar strap, and I was just so amazed. I was like, this was towards the end of their run, and I was like, this is awesome. It was every bit as good as like from the 90s, because this was like it's about 2004-ish, 2003-ish, something like that I got to see them. So it was towards like the end of their push. It was the last album tour, so whenever that was. I don't know.
It sounds amazing. Tyler would bring back Shannon Hoon from Blind Melon.
Yep, I love Shannon Hoon.
Great voice. They only really did like 2 records though, huh?
Yeah. Soup was the second one. I was a big fan of.
Yeah.
This isn't a funny story. It's just a story I always mention. Nobody ever talks about Shannon Hoon being like a big thing whenever he died or anything. I remember I was in 7th grade, and my gym class was doing a weird thing where we had like these little mini pool tables set up, like bumper pool tables, and we all went in there that morning. It was my first period, and it had just come across MTV News as I was leaving the house. I always had MTV on in the background while I was getting ready. It said Shannon Hoon, lead singer of Blind Melon, has died. And I was like, I got so depressed. I was like, what? I loved Blind Melon while I was in 7th grade, you know? And I went, and I remember like me and my buddy just both playing that stupid little pool thing in gym class talking about Blind Melon. And like, I'll never forget that day. It was a sad day, Davey.
Yeah. And then that makes me think about Scott from Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah.
You know, who I just figured that time was going to come at some point because he struggled with, you know, like serious addiction for a really long time. But what, he died at like 46 years old or something like that. Like,
did you ever see the footage of that last tour? It was so sad. They were playing dive bars with his little backup band. So I got to see him it was a great show. It was 2001. It was STP in their prime, and they were Fishbone opened, and then Stone Temple Pilots, and then Red Hot Chili Peppers. And it was a great, because it was around the Californication time for Chili Peppers. Fishbone, you know, was being legends as they always are. It was a great show, and it actually came to West Virginia, so I was thrilled. And it was a great show. But then, you know, after that was like Velvet Revolver, and then after Velvet Revolver, he did some more STP. Then he fell out of all that, and he just had this band that was just backing him up. I don't even remember if they had a name or anything. And you can look on YouTube. And when I saw him, he was amazing, moving all around like you saw in videos. Frontman. He was one of the best frontmen. in these sad YouTube videos, he's just barely hanging on to a mic stand like he's about to fall over, mumbling the words to old STP songs. And it was terrible. And I've played better bars than those bars. And I've played some bad bars. I'm just saying.
It's too bad. That's too bad. Because I think he has, out of that whole, like, all of those guys that do that, like, dropped lower jaw white dude singing, I think Scott Weiland's voice was the best out of all of them.
Yeah.
And I think, like, Purple from Stone Temple Pilots in particular, that album is flawless.
One of my first favorite albums I ever had. I loved it.
Yeah, such a great record. And yeah, I mean, I guess if I brought Scott back, it would be just to make people feel good instead of feel bad. So I wouldn't bring him back like Sammy Kerr. Damn Sammy Kerr.
Damn.
Well, yeah, I mean, so I mean, you know, that's pretty much Trick or Treat. Like, you know, we sort of talked about everything. Is there anything else you want to cover here before we head out for the night?
I know we've already talked about it, but like, I'm just going to re-ask, as the first time watcher of the group compared to the millionth time watcher, did you like it? Did you genuinely enjoy it? Are you glad I talked you into doing this show? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I dug it quite a bit. I thought it was really fun. So, you know, first time watching, it's like, you know, an hour and 35 minutes. It's not like, it doesn't go on too long or anything like that. So I really appreciate that. The movie moves along, great music, natural performances. I'm glad I finally watched it because I've heard about it for so many years and it was different than what I thought it would be. So I would say
were you confused, Davey, by where the little boy with the bag over his head and the sucker was? Were you confused by that all night?
Not at all. No, I was I guess I just didn't know. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know how the metal cameos worked into the movie and all that kind of stuff.
Did you know about them? Did you know that they'd be in there?
Yeah, I did know that the actors or that the musicians were in there playing roles. I guess I just didn't know how it all like if I haven't seen something, I try not to watch like a review that will spoil too much. So I know about the movie, but not well enough to really know exactly what happened. So it really was like pretty refreshing and brand new, you know, to watch it today.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, man. Because I know I pushed for it. I was the one that was like, we got to do this. So that means next month Davey gets a pick, which we haven't. I don't think we picked anything yet, have we? We haven't talked about it.
We have not. So everyone that's watching in the chat, or if you're checking this out after the fact, drop it in the comments what you want to see us watch next time.
And it doesn't have to be horror. It doesn't have to be horror. It's anything vaguely punk rock related. So
something punk rock related.
Valley Girl would be cool.
Yeah.
If he wants to watch Thrashing or something like that, that'd be cool. RoboCop 2. You know, whatever. What is the most Thanksgiving
punk rock movie you can think of? Put that in the chat or in the comments below. Think that direction. Or are you thinking like Dutch? Are you thinking like what do you got in mind? You know,
could an argument be made for Son-in-Law?
Son-in-Law. I don't know. I don't know.
Rock and roll if we did Airheads.
Let's see what we got. Let us know in the comments and in the chat what is the Thanksgiving themed punk rock film.
I mean, we could watch Thanksgiving. It's not. There is a whole thing in there about the metalhead talking about Ronnie James Dio and Ozzy and everything. So Thanksgiving could be.
It is. Yeah, it is. It is pretty punk rock. It is pretty punk rock.
It's pretty on the nose though. So you all give us some ideas.
Detroit Rock City.
Is there? Yeah, Detroit Rock City would be great. Is there a mohawk and a turkey in the movie? We are interested.
There you go. There you go.
I love Detroit Rock City.
Jose Rodriguez says rock and roll forever. Welcome to the chat, Jose Rodriguez. I think this is your first time. You're hanging out with the Death Squad and Fuzz Rotten for Movie Punks. We've pretty much wrapped up all the trick or treat talk, but if you're just jumping in now, you can always scrub it on back. Let's see here. What do you got coming up on the channel, Foz? Anything popping off here in the near future?
Well, no, but I will. I don't have anything planned. All my stuff just kind of happens spontaneously. But now that I have 460 people, thanks to the last show, thank you everybody for coming and subscribing. I had a few new subscribers thanks to the last episode.
Yeah.
If everybody wants to get me to 500, since I've had this damn YouTube since like 2005, 2006, whenever I got it, literally, I would love to get to 500 subscribers finally. It only took almost 20 years or over 20 years, however the math works. Davey, where are you at right now, buddy? I know you're over 1,000, but let's get you to that next goal. What is your next goal with it?
We just passed 1150, something like that. So
almost, I mean,
at
this 2,000. Almost.
At this point, I guess the next goal is 2,000. So we might be a ways off, but yeah, I mean, if you're watching this and you know somebody that really enjoys this kind of stuff, like share it with them, and yeah.
Now, bless you, sir. No, I hope you didn't catch my cold that I have, Davey.
I did. I caught it. It won't stop.
Oh, bless you, buddy.
This is hilarious.
Now,
you guys witnessed a real sneezing fit live on air.
Oh, buddy, I'm sorry.
Hey, what can you do?
I do a lot of spontaneous stuff, and a lot of it's like reels or posts on Instagram. I do a lot, and then I'll do like the reel. I'll do it on TikTok. I'll have it on TikTok, Instagram, and I'll put it on YouTube, shorts and everything. You can find me everywhere at FozRotten.com is the easiest way, or any social that you can think of. Even Blue Sky, I got back on there again this week for, after being gone for months. Everything's at FozRotten, and I'll just do a lot of stuff. I'm very active on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. That's where I'll post most of my just random thoughts that I have. So just follow me everywhere, and you'll see the random stuff I come up with.
Yeah, links in the description below for Foz. So yeah, go check his channel out, give him a follow. Watch that trick or treat video where he goes through his whole collection. So he's got a couple versions of the vinyl and the physical copies of the film as well. So yeah, check those out for sure.
And whatever.
500 t-shirts. There it is.
I mean, for real, for years there was not an official t-shirt for years. And the Frat Rags, when Frat Rags finally came around 15, 20 years ago, they made one trick or treat shirt. And I had that shirt for years, buddy. And after that, nothing for years and years. Then all of a sudden, the license about 3 years ago came up, and 3 different companies released like 6 different shirts. I got so many fucking. There's even new ones now.
Language, Foz. Language.
I'm sorry, Davey, but it's about heavy metal and it makes me evil. Okay, buddy.
It's quite all right. Quite all right.
But anyways, like, I was just excited. I was like, I want all these, and now I'm like, I can't buy any more. I just spent $100 on this box set. Well, 70 some bucks, but
yeah. Hey, that's what love for a movie will do to you. You'll spend all that money just to have it. And this one is if you guys haven't seen this film, it's on Screenbox. You can do like through Amazon, you can do like a trial. If you've never seen this movie, you can check it out and just start your trial, watch it, end your trial, just so you can check out the movie. But it is really damn fun.
Or stick with Screenbox. They get some cool stuff sometimes. I think a lot about actually getting them, but it has so much of the same stuff I already have, or is on Shudder. I can't justify it. The only reason I keep Shudder is for Joe Bob, which we're missing in that because of the stream. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'll watch it later.
Or we could do Movie Punks on a Saturday night instead.
That is true. Which, dude, you have no idea how lucky tonight was. I'm working this weekend, but today I was actually able to have this evening off. I worked earlier, but I actually have this evening off. Any other day this week, I couldn't have done this. So it was a miracle on miracles, because it's Happy Occur Day that we have to do this tonight. This is like the first one in forever we haven't changed the date on.
Yeah. And the news dropped. It was absolutely perfect. It was really fun checking this one out. Guys, there's a link in the description below, not only for you to follow Foz on socials and subscribe to him on YouTube, but also a link where you can go purchase the movie if you'd like. So
synapsefilms.com, baby.
Yeah, and I think I have the Diabolic one up there right now, so I'm gonna have to update it for you guys. But yeah, if you go to synapsefilms.com, which I posted in the chat earlier, then you can go reserve a copy, pre-order a copy of the film and right now. Three different variants or all three.
Exactly. And if you want to buy the A and Bs and send them to me, that is 100% thank you, and I will send you something nice for that. I got variant C. And if Slippy Michael Felcher wants to send us a free copy to have for upping this all night long tonight, feel free, but send 2 copies. One for Davey and another A or B for me. Thanks.
Gotta send two copies for the movie punks. Absolutely. Well, the train is choo-chooing right behind you.
It's coming down.
So I guess that means it's a perfect time to wrap things up. We've just been going for about an hour and a half tonight. Yeah, this one has been really fun. Really appreciate you guys for kicking it with us here in the chat. Thank you to all the Patreon members and channel members, and of course, our amazing mods. You guys are awesome. Just like Jamie says, don't forget to smash the like, sub to the channel, join the Death Squad. And if you're watching on the replay, leave a comment. Yeah, and even for the folks that are watching live right now, as soon as it ends, if you leave a comment, that really helps. Make sure you like before you leave the stream. Absolutely. That way the stream gets a little bit more life as we move on here. So let's see here. Yeah, I will be back tomorrow night. We're going to watch White Zombie. We're going to do a live watch party of Bela Lugosi and 1932's White Zombie. That'll be really fun. And then I've got live streams every day until the end of Halloween Eve. Halloween is my first night off in a while. So yeah, guys, you'll see me tomorrow. It'll be really great to watch White Zombie with everyone hanging out. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Foz, this has been a blast. And let's figure something out for November's.
Yeah, you all give us suggestions in the comments. Give us suggestions in the comments, please.
Absolutely. And he's been Foz Rotten, and I've been and will continue to be Davey Deathray.
Hell yeah.
Take care.